I'm a conservative Republican. He's a populist. He's not a conservative. I want to see someone who has fidelity to principles. I would prefer a party that is based on principles, not personality or populism. This populism is untethered to principles, and that's why I'm an anti-establishment Republican.
But you knew him.
I mean, I can't help but laugh. Really, that was former House Speaker Paul Ryan hilariously claiming that he's actually the anti-establishment guy, while of course trashing Donald Trump. And he was speaking to Neil Cavuto as he was making his case. Before I continue on with the ridiculous nature of his statement there, John, look, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe I'm misremembering who Paul Ryan really is. So why don't you jump in and maybe correct me if I'm wrong?
What my perception of Paul Ryan's legacy in the Republican Party is? Well, look, obviously he came in and he was supposed to, at that point, he was young and he would pose working out. He was supposed to be young and energetic and vibrant, but also wonky with an expertise in policy. And he's gonna it's like a vaguely sort of technocratic thing. And he's gonna come in and it's a new infusion of young blood to the Republican Party. And they're gonna, deliver for the millionaires and billionaires and all that, which I'm sure they would work towards. They probably would have accomplished much of the same policies as Donald Trump, but they represented a Republican Party that wasn't as aggressively homophobic, still homophobic, not as much, aggressively misogynistic and racist and all of that. Donald Trump took a lot of the same policies and just is more explicitly awful about it, basically.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
The idea that Paul Ryan was anti-establishment is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. He was young blood within the establishment of the Republican Party, okay? Guys, just because he posed in these dorky photo shoots, I mean, come on, that doesn't make you anti-establishment. But look at that one. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. John, don't ever take pictures like this, okay? Don't ever consider it.
Well, I did actually wear that as a Halloween costume one year. I went as Paul Ryan in his workout gear, which was a lot of fun. What are these faces? What are you doing, you bizarre little Pinocchio? He's such a weird guy. What about this? What if he is anti-establishment, but only insofar as Donald Trump has an absolute stranglehold on the Republican Party, and he's against Donald Trump, so he's against the Republican elected establishment at least, not the donors.
Okay, so let's break it down. And I do think there are differences between Republican politicians like Paul Ryan and Donald Trump. So let's start with who Paul Ryan really is. Now, in that interview, he also made plenty of spicy comments about Trump, so stick around for that. You don't want to miss it. But this actually isn't the first time that Paul Ryan has declared that, he's just like this rebellious Republican, okay? So here's what he told the Washington Post back in February.
Look, I am in the minority in my party right now. I'm not in the establishment. I'm frankly an anti-establishment Republican. And I think you can safely argue, I don't enjoy acknowledging this, that Trump is the establishment and Trump populism is the establishment. And that Trump populism is this more isolationist strain that I think is wrong and dangerous and I don't support. But that does represent a large swath of Republican voters.
So just because the majority of Republican voters do not want to start and engage in foreign wars, and he wants to, he is the anti-establishment guy. That is what he's trying to say here, John. Because he disagrees with where the hearts and minds of most Republican voters stand today. He's anti-establishment. The voters, I don't know if he knows this. The voters do not represent the establishment. The voters are ordinary people who are participating in the democratic process and telling candidates what they want. The establishment is the power structure, those in the power structure of the Republican Party, those who take the bribes from moneyed interests and carry out the desires of those moneyed interests. In fact, the way that he's describing himself as, basically a never Trump Republican, he might as well be absorbed into the Democratic Party like the rest of the never Trump Republicans have. Okay, but to say that he's anti-establishment is ridiculous. In fact, he loves what the establishment represents and hates the fact that, Donald Trump kind of came in and shook the neocon out of it. Or out of the Republican Party. And so I just think that there is a little bit of a difference. I don't agree with Trump did some terrible things regarding foreign policy when he was in power. Ripped up the Iran nuclear deal, nearly started a war with Iran, supported Saudi Arabia and tried to provide cover for Mohammed bin Salman after he ordered for the execution and dismemberment of a Washington Post, op-ed reporter and US resident. It goes on and on. Definitely bombed Syria. He's not some dove and he's not some isolationist at all. But there is a difference in my mind between Donald Trump and the likes of Paul Ryan, in the very least rhetorically. And Paul Ryan hated it so much that he literally quit his job. He stepped down and didn't seek re-election as a result of how much the Republican Party had changed under Donald Trump. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, which is arguably kind of like a weirdly principled thing, I guess. Lots of other people like him just played ball. They just said, oh, I'm a Trumper now. I believe all of his insane BS. So it's sort of like that. He kind of felt like he was biding his time. So I'm not gonna give him tons of points for principle. But what you were describing there, part of the problem is I think there are some terms that have been so manipulated and twisted and filled with alternate meanings and drained of their original meanings that they almost obscure more than they reveal. And I think that establishment is one of those that different people use it to mean very different things. And so it can be hard to use the term and have people know what you mean.
In our members only bonus today, we will show you the spicy comments he had for Donald Trump. So for our members, you can look forward to that. And if you're not a member, you can help support the show and get exclusive members only content by joining at tyt.com/join, or you can smash that join button if you're watching us on YouTube and become a member that way. And for all of you watching who aren't members and you gotta go, thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for watching. We love you and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member. And members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.